morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. God damn, Phantasma's already crying. We just started, buddy. Calm down. You will get fed. How are we doing? How are things? I'm surprised I'm on time today, to be quite honest. I booked a last-minute dentist appointment, and I just assumed that the dentist meant, like, hygienist cleaning, checking over of stuff, whatever. Hello! Good morning. Well, I guess good afternoon. Hope you're doing good. But yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know if maybe my entire childhood, my parents were always just booking appointments with the hygienist. But I feel like in Canada, when you book a dentist appointment, it's sort of implied that the dentist and the hygienist happen at the same time. So, like, I would go, the hygienist would do the teeth clean, do all the whatevers, and then the dentist would swab, like, come in, look at the teeth, check everything over, and give it, like, you know, a once-over, good-to-go sort of thing, right? But here, it's you book a general checkup, and it's just the dentist. Like, I was in and out in probably, like, 15 minutes. And so now, which is kind of, like, it's a bit of a pain in the ass, right? Because you're like, okay, I've booked this appointment. And then if you want to come back and get a cleaning, you then have to book with the hygienist. And then I was saying to Liam, I was a bit concerned that maybe I was getting a cavity. And I felt like, I don't know what it is. Like, I understand that grown-ass people can get cavities. Like, everybody can mismanage their oral health, if you will. But to me, cavities seems like, you know, when you consume excessive candy as a child and don't, like, know how to brush your teeth properly sort of thing. So, like, it almost felt a bit, like, I don't know, like, a bit shameful or whatever to, like, be a whole 31-year-old ass woman and, like, maybe having a cavity. Though it's not the end of the world. I think it was just this weird thing. Turns out, though, I don't think I have a cavity. I think it's an old filling that is, yeah, that makes sense. So they probably hop around to different practices. Whereas, yeah, in Canada, I think everybody's all in one house, you know? But yeah, I think it's like an old filling that's coming loose or coming whatever. And so they're like, it could be that the kid, like, something's getting in there or whatever, right? So it made me feel a bit better that it was at the site of an old filling, and so it could just be that filling's worn away, but still. So not only did I go to the dentist, was in there out in 2 minutes, I left needing to book 2 different dentist appointments. So I have to book with the hygienist for a cleaning and book with the dentist to get a filling done. And I understand that it kind of makes sense to me, because like, obviously you clean your teeth and then you get a filling. But in my brain, I'm like, no, you obviously could clean my teeth and then also fill the tooth at the same time. I feel like that shit happens, but it doesn't matter. It's different. It's different here. Anyways, so I've had a vision, like I normally do, of an idea. I think that's what it is. Visions, ideas. It's all the same thing. Of making little mushrooms and displaying them on little pieces of wood. So these are all from Hobbycraft. These, I think, were actually in, like, the potpourri section. So I got a mixed bag of, like, different sizes, because I also got these guys that look like they're, like, birch ones, which are really cute, but I also feel like they're really big and not entirely what I want to do. Though I did have a really cute idea, so I think we're going to do, obviously, our fly agaric, our OG, the one that is covered on my wall, on my stream setup, like, on my body, you know, like, we have to do that one first. But I thought it would be really cute as well, because there is obviously a type of mushroom that is most commonly found in fairy circles, and so I thought this was a nice larger platform to make a ring of mushrooms, which I'm super excited about. But we'll see. This is all just a theory, right? But I assume it's gonna work out okay. So the plan is felt a mushroom, glue it on the base, and also glue I figured I might as well use up all this miniature glue that I have, because we have so much miniature glue left over. And obviously it seems to be a one-shot use with everything, so I'm assuming it'll be the same with this. Let me just fix my camera setting so it doesn't constantly autofocus. But yeah, so that's the plan. And then also the option is to, hang on, configure video, camera control. Let's turn off the focus. There we go. Yeah, and so I have some of this leftover like fake grass from the miniatures as well, and so I thought it would be a bit more like realistic or whatever, like look a bit more, I don't know, more visually interesting to have this fake grass also around the site of where the mushroom is gonna go. This is what I have left over from this. We want to use this up first, but I also bought specifically, so at Hobbycraft, this was like the smallest bag. You could get like sets of stuff, but this is what they gave me. So now I have like a metric fuck ton of fake grass turf for this. So hopefully it works out, but I got like an earth blended version because one of the things I want to do is some of the like polypore mushrooms, and so those usually grow on the sides of tree trunks as opposed to up from the ground. So I wanted something that was a bit more like dirt colored to add more dimension to that. But then we also got blended turf, just like a green blend. This is obvious. This looks like it's a lot finer than what this is. This is more like little strands of like little straight strands, whereas this looks more like, I don't know, it looks a bit more like moss, which is cool. So we'll see. I'm a bit nervous to open these. I guess I'll just have to get really good elastic or clamps or something to like contain that. I assume this is sort of like the miniatures version of glitter, where I think that I will be finding this turf everywhere for the foreseeable future since we're going to be using it. But so yes, so this is the plan. I have my little mushroom book, and so what I've been doing is when I've been going out into the forest and using my Seek app, if I find a mushroom that in here, I'm going and cross-referencing in this book, and so all these little markings that I've made are actually ones that I have identified in my own like backyard, I guess, like in the forests around me, which is really cool. I know that there's probably a few more that I will do at some point, but yeah, but obviously to start this off, we're obviously going to work with this guy here. So I'm really excited to do this. I do want to try, who knows though. I think what'll happen with these is it'll veer somewhere in between cartoonish and realistic. I don't think I can get as like hyper realistic as this, but we're going to try. We're going to see how it goes. I think I'm aiming for, I don't know if you guys can see in like my overlay setup, the one that's the mushroom that's sort of in between both of my cameras. I think that's probably what we're gonna aim for in terms of like realism or something like that. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get started. I think what I want to do for this is I think maybe we're gonna do two or three mushrooms of like different sizes. I think I want them to be sort of like yay big. We'll see. Sort of like, yeah, I think like an inch and a half maybe. That seems right. I think maybe what we'll start with is making the cap. I have this idea because I was looking at the reference photo here, and you can sort of see like the base sort of kind of, well, you can't really, but it blends from like a bright red into almost like an orangey color. So I'm gonna try to do that with this. No guarantee, it might just end up being all red, but I thought it would be nice to try something new, something a bit different. But yes, the first thing we're gonna do is make the cap. And I also think too, visually, like we can get a little bit, because there's ones that are a bit like more stubby, there's ones that are a bit flatter, ones that are a bit rounder. I think if we start with a bit of like a flat dome boy, then we can sort of go from there. Yeah, I think we're just gonna use the small guy. Oh yes, I forgot. So this is the one that we usually use. This needle is short enough that it fits in here. But do you remember with the needle felted photo we did, the needles we were given were not small enough to fit in the handle. They were too long, which I thought was very silly. But yeah. Because this is quite a small piece, we are going to start with a small amount, and then obviously we can build it up if we need to. But we'll see. I'm also super happy, guys. Today, Pretzel Rocks has bestowed upon me the Chill Piano playlist. I've told you that, like, if I had, you know, I don't know, the premium version, I don't really know if it's worth it, to be honest, but I would just always have this music on for the most part. Because when I want, like, my idea of, like, chill crafting time in terms of, like, the musical soundtrack to my chill crafting time is the Peaceful Piano playlist on Spotify. And so this is, like, the closest equivalent that's not going to get me copyright strikes. But yeah, so very happy about that. Hopefully it gives it to us all week, because we are hoping to be keeping the chill on chillin' for everything. But yeah, even got the mushrooms. My mushrooms are still on my nails. They're not, a lot of them are chipped, but honestly, considering that I also had to cut them because we've been doing work in the garden. The fact that not all of them have come off and chipped, this one's a bit more worse for wear here, but they're still hanging on, which is pretty cool. But I think that's standard. Like, usually when I paint my nails, if I do a good job, I'll, like, it can last a week with, like, minimal chippage. So we're obviously over that point now. So, but yeah, some of them are still holding on, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this is why, you know, it's one of those where I've slowly realized, and I don't think it's gonna, well, who knows, maybe it is. I'm slowly embracing the fact that though nostalgic in name, I do think that this channel is just gonna, like, descend into being, like, the Mushroom Studio Ghibli channel. Because if I'm not talking about mushrooms and making mushrooms, I'm, like, talking about Studio Ghibli and making Ghibli stuff. I told Liam the other day that I do think I want to make a go at... I watched Princess Mononoke the other day, because I've just been really craving watching that movie. And I think I want to try to actually make... I guess, for me it'll be a Halloween costume, but I do think that the more appropriately titled, it would be like a cosplay. Where I think I want to try to make a San cosplay outfit, because Liam printed a ghost face mask from the game Dead by Daylight for my brother-in-law last Halloween for his costume, and it turned out really well. So we know that making masks is an option for the 3D printer. It obviously always has been, but we just never, like, did it. And I think I did check before, and I think you can get the San mask make it 3D printed. But yeah, and so the other day I was looking online at more patterns, because I was like, well, if I want to do this, that means I want to make the dress that she wears, and I want to get, like, a wig and style that and make, like, her cloak and things like that. And so this is obviously going to be a multi-step process. So I do think if I am serious about this, like, making a game plan to get started sooner than later, I think probably, like, next month, if I can gather the supplies by the end of the month, it will be the San cosplay month. Because when you think about it, the dress that I made recently, the first time we ever made a dress together, that took about a week, and there was some off-stream stuff. But if I do break everything down, I don't think it'll take a month. I think it'll probably take a couple of months, because there are different components. But I think it feels like a reasonable goal, actually. I'm getting better at that. So, because the other thing I was thinking of doing is I've never crafted with clay before. Like, I've never done any sort of sculpting or anything like that. So I could try my hand at sculpting the jewelry that she wears. I think that would be really cool. And then, you know, I'm always trying to think of different craft skill sets that would help me with potential craft marketability. That's also why we're doing this. So if this plans out and works out, I think this would be a decent like time frame wise craft that I could pump out like a lot of in order to be part of craft markets. So I was talking to my brother-in-law about this because we want to do this together. And he asked me on the weekend, like, if I've made any more progress in putting that in motion. And I was like, I feel like I've put myself in a bit of a stalemate where I'm not, like, I have the channels that I want to investigate, but it feels like until I have the stock to sell, it doesn't really make sense to me to, like, really put the pedal to the metal in terms of, like, getting a booth somewhere and all that kind of stuff. So I'd rather like have at least, 20, 30 items and then start approaching the organizers of these things to try to be like, yo, this is something that I'm interested in. But we'll see. I think this was actually a good size of the amount because right now all we're really needing to do right now is just continue to sort of close the gap on this. Make the circle smaller and smaller, make everything a bit more defined. And then as we do that, that will shrink. The only problem I find when I do this is I shrink everything and I get it to the size I want. And so the side, like the sides, the circumference is like thick and chunky. And then the top is like, you can see through it a little bit better. So we need to, I guess the other option, we can obviously add more when we need to. But I think get the rough idea of the size down and then go from there, because I think right now this is too big. It's not the worst. I don't think it can be, if we decide that this is going to be our biggest mushroom, if we're going to make like a trio of mushrooms, this can be our largest one to start, and then we know that we need a lot less materials after that. Yeah, so aside from this, so this is the newest craft exporting idea. The other thing I want to do is get more into the keychains that I was making. I started a little bit. We were doing some experiments with making like astrology keychains and stuff. I do want to get back into that. I do think I was trying, like, I don't know, I think people do, like, people who love astrology, and so I do think that that would be a thing people might be interested in. But I also think, too, one of the problems I have is, like something that seems like a simple idea, like, cross-stitching hearts and sticking them on keychains. That's maybe not something that I personally would purchase, but then I have to remember that just because it's not my aesthetic doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't other people who would be interested in it. You know what I mean? So I think as much as what I'm saying is I need to make things less complicated, and I need to try to not be like you obviously want to be unique and stand out and like bring something different to the table, but I also don't need to like break my back trying to come up with all these different ideas when it's just like, girl, just do like hearts, smiley faces, flowers, initials. Like, don't try to, I don't know. Don't try to pull the I'm not like other girls card. It's fine. It's basically like an I'm not like other girls, but like from a crafting perspective. And it's like, you can chill. So I'm gonna try to incorporate a little bit of orange now. We'll see how it goes. Again, if not, we can always just cover over it. I was just thinking of like ever so loosely. So Liam has the week off, and we're currently in the process of finishing our patio area down by our garage. That's why he took the week off. Though it is typical timing that he did take a week off to do outside construction-y work. and it's set to rain pretty much every day this week. There are a couple days where it's not, and to be fair, it's been pretty clear here all day. It's only just started raining. It's a lot of like on and off stuff, so I think it'll be a lot of like getting out when you can, doing a bit, coming in, and whatever. But we needed to raise, like, because basically the garage got done, and we then just, the builders laid like a bunch of concrete and built a retaining wall because our garden kind of dips down a little bit, and so we wanted to have a distinct area. Like, our old setup had like a barbecue pit, which is what the ultimate sort of plan is, to make a barbecue pit down there and have seating and whatever. But Liam wanted to do it himself, and so the construction people who did the garage just sort of left like a blank canvas essentially. But when Liam was kind of doing the measurements and working out what he needed to do, we realized we had to sort of raise the floor from where we were going to start laying everything, because I think to do like this much concrete, like, it's, first of all, that would be very expensive, and also I don't know like how structurally sound that would be over time. And so our neighbor, he used to be like a bricklayer. He's sort of like a retired builder and stuff. So every once in a while, like, he'll get chatting with Liam, and Liam will like pick his brain of like, these are my ideas and things like that. And so he recommended picking up this stuff. I guess it's called like a subfloor, whatever. And it's sort of like this commercial grade like rocks and sand and whatever that you can like use a tamper to really like, I don't know, basically create a higher but smoother, dense surface to work off of. And so Liam picked up some of that, but obviously, like, we're trying to bulk up and raise the area, which is a bit of a shame because we decided last summer that we are not pot people. So when we inherited Pam's garden, the woman who lived here, R.I.P., when we moved in, or who we bought the place from, she was really into her garden, but she had a lot of flower pots, and we neglected them, and realized, like, we're not, like, I think, you know, now too, like, I think I enjoy gardening, but I enjoy low maintenance gardening, and pots, you have to be diligent about watering them all the time because they're not getting as much nutrients because they're not in the ground, like, they're suspended in their own stuff, you know? And so we decided last year to clear out all the pots and get rid of them. And so we were able to pass them on to like friends and family, which was helpful. But we were left with a bunch. And then we were thinking there, like, especially the terracotta ones, we're like, well, why don't we just smash them and incorporate them into this subfloor? Because again, it's all like bits of rocks and whatever. And who's to say you can't just add, you know, the terracotta pots into the mix? So that's what we decided to do. So on Sunday, I donned the safety glasses and had a big mallet, and I smashed a bunch of pots. And let me tell you, I was very happy. I was quite enjoying myself. I found it very fun, very therapeutic. I said to Liam, though, it sets a dangerous precedent, though, because after I finished smashing the couple pots we had left, I was like, what else can I smash? So, yeah. So that was a fun little adventure that we went on over the weekend. So highly recommend donning some safety glasses, getting a mallet, and just like smashing the shit out of some unused terracotta pots. Highly recommend. Okay, this isn't the worst. It is giving us a little bit of color definition. I'm here, but I'm not. Oh, you're still in the audit, eh? That's so frustrating. I'm sending you all the vibes, all the good vibes. Oh, highly recommend just getting a chance to smash some stuff. I know that they have those, like, you can actually pay to go to, like, what is it? They're like rage centers, and so you can pay people to like don some stuff and just like smash the crap out of stuff. This at least was like purposeful destruction because we were using the pots for the subfloor. But yeah, still Because, like, I've never understood, like, I know, like, my dad and, like, my brother-in-law, like, we have a bunch of, like, little pyros in the family, so they like to light shit on fire, and, like, they love fireworks and explosions and think they're really cool. I don't really care about fire, like, that's not something that I don't know, I don't care that much about that, but breaking things with a mallet, I could be down with, you know? And I was. Okay, is this sort of yeah, kind of, I guess. Let's make this a little bit taller though. This is happening the way we want it to. Just adding a bit more structure to this. I feel like it's the right size, but now it's like, I don't know, it's like a little pancake. I think it needs to be a little bit taller and thicker. So that is now the next step. It just looks like we're making like a little red medallion, but I promise you it's gonna look like a mushroom by the end of this. Aside from the picture that we needle felted, we're making a mushroom. Yes, we are specifically making, obviously, our fly agaric Amanita Muscaria. So I want to make 3 little mushrooms, glue them on here, and then also add a bit of grass to just like add a bit more visual dimension. So we're sort of like, it's kind of like a diorama, but only of mushrooms. Little mushroom diorama, if you will. And then hopefully, well, we'll see. I'm hoping that we can get this one done. I'm hoping these can become one-day builds. Because then on Thursday, we will attempt to do my fairy ring idea with the slightly bigger pieces of wood, the slightly larger wood circles. I'm thinking that will create that. The other thing I want to do too, though, and it's one of those that I always like, you always associate, aside from this mushroom, aside from the fly agaric mushroom, I feel like usually people are like, and to be fair, the majority of mushrooms seem to be in like the white to beige to brown sort of spectrum, but there are like purpley ones, bluish ones, stuff like that, and I think that would be a fun way to use up some of the like more, I say unnatural colors, but these are found in nature, so obviously they're natural in some capacity. But yeah, because I have a lot of random kind of colors that, unless we're making like a butterfly or something else, like I don't know, it's just a different way to do that, I think. And also it makes it more visually interesting if we do a lot of these, that we're not constantly just using the beige and brown color palette, though I assume we will be doing a lot of that. Can't tell. Cannot tell. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It's fine. Just smacking stuff. No big deal. But yeah. I chatted with my parents yesterday. My mom did a 5K foam run over the weekend. So she did complain there wasn't enough obstacles in it, in this fun run. But she said it was kind of cool because obviously there was still mud involved in these sorts of fun runs. Like there usually are. They're on like a big field, and if it's rain, there's usually mud everywhere. But then it was quite nice because you would get all covered in mud and then you'd run through the foam, and then that would kind of like cool you off sort of thing. So they said that was quite enjoyable. But my dad didn't do it. She did it with her friend. But then afterwards they went to a car show Because, you know, they're very into their cars right now. I've never done one of those, just a color run. Yeah, I've never done a color run. Liam's done a color run before. But yeah, I've done a Spartan race. I've done one, it was called like a Mademoiselle, which was like a cancer fundraiser one. Usually they're like a fundraiser for something, right? But yeah, so yeah, she enjoyed it. Just gonna again add a little bit more. It was raining, so it was rolling color photos. Yeah, definitely. That's interesting. I guess true, because you're almost getting thrown like colored paint on you at that point, as opposed to like the actual colored powder. Hi, Potato. Good morning to you. I hope you are well. I hope you have coffee in hand. And I hope you had a fabulous weekend. I know you and Saul went on some mystery adventuring over the weekend. Guys, you don't know, Patats and Saul played a Nancy Drew point and click game. I always enjoy those games. I think point and click is like my favorite type of game. Just because, you know, it's less physically taxing. It doesn't require as much, you know, hand-eye coordination, which I feel like I lack. Though Liam and I started playing It Takes Two the other day, and that was fun. But it did require some coordination on my part. There was a lot of like like sound effects. Do you ever find that when you're playing like a game and you have to platform, and sometimes like making noises physically helps you like complete the task and do the things? But yeah, I watched a little bit of like gameplay, but Liam hadn't seen any of it, so it was a bit more of a surprise for him. But yeah, it was really good. The only thing is we played it on the Steam Deck, and then I think it was like not charging and playing at the same time. So at one point it was like the Steam Deck was like overheating, and we were like, oh, okay. But we played for like an hour and a half, so it was good. But yeah, I always find I do that when I like go to jump in a game, like especially this one. So I was playing the female character, May, and at one point you have a hammer, right? And you have to like swing on the hammer and then time your jumps to then like get to the next platform or get to the next hammer and like nail the swing on the hammer. So it was a lot of like, you know, you gotta make the noise while you press the button, and for some reason like that makes me feel like it actually does it better sometimes, not all the time, but I take all the things I can get. I started playing another game. I got another game the other day, which also has a little bit of platforming in it, but it's like much more chill. Aw, thanks. But it's a much more chill game, and because I found it, I don't know what it was. I think I was like Googling or looking at the Steam sales, the Steam summer sales, and just like there was like sub themes, so I picked like calming and nature just to see what would turn up. And there's this game called Smushy Come Home, and it's super cute. But I have to say, one of the things I've noticed when I've like, because I've gotten really into like mushrooms and stuff as an aesthetic, a lot of times they will be referred to as like mushies or like mushlings or whatever. And I get that, like the mush part doesn't bother me. But I think because this character, basically Smushy is a mushroom. He's a little mushroom guy, and he gets taken away from his home, and you have to basically go on a little cozy adventure to get him back to his home on an island, right? Yeah, and so, but the fact that his name is called Smushy, I don't know what it is when I hear that term, but to me, that sounds like a little child trying to explain sex. You know what I mean? Where like, you know, you're like, oh, okay, like with Barbie, she's like, yeah, and now the Barbie shmush, you know, like that's how it reads me. So it always kind of feels a little bit like, bleh, like it just feels a little bit immature to me, and feels a little bit like, yeah, little child explanation coded. So yeah, so I don't really care I don't like that his name is Smushy, to be honest. I'd rather him not have that kind of a name, but the game itself is super cute. And then also, as you play the game, you interact in different biomes and actually have a mycology journal, and then you get to discover the different mushroom species in the game, and it records them for you. So that's really fun for me. And the animation's really pretty, but it is platformy. And so I always find, like, even if a game is meant to be cozy, you still, I don't know, you put those platforms in front of me and I still have to, like, you know, in order to get to where I'm going. But it's very cute. I do recommend. It's very calm. I guess it's very similar to another game. I've seen it before, but I can't remember what it's called, where it's like a very similar, like, hand-drawn kind of animation style about, like, a bird that, like, goes walking, I think that's the context of the game, but it's very similar to that one in terms of, like, it's cozy, you take your own time, you can, like, do some of the activities or not and whatever. So I quite like it, though I did find the sort of, like, prologue kind of interesting. So you wake up and you are a mushroom named Smushy with, I think you have, like, 3 brothers and sister mushrooms, and you all live on a little island. And so you wake up and you're just, like, exploring your little island, right? And you're kind of like, oh, this is how I'm, like, learning the game mechanics and stuff. And so you need to go, so basically your one, like, mushroom sibling is standing on top of a tall rock playing a flute, trying to attract his ladybug friend who's run away but likes the sound of his flute. So then you have to go hop around playing the flute to find the ladybug. But then you reunite your sibling with your ladybug friend, and it's like, oh, the ladybug is kind of like a pet dog, like it's a pet animal. So it's like, oh, the mushlings now have, like, a pet ladybug, really, really cute. But as they're having a conversation about how this ladybug is getting to be part of the family, a bird comes down, and the bird is going to take Smushy's sibling, and so Smushy pushes his brother out of the way, and that's why Smushy ends up so far from home, because a bird tries to, like, steals him in his claws and then takes him away. And then you, like, wake up and Smushy's, like, knocked out because he, like, passed out because of the fear or whatever. And he wakes up and he's like, oh shit, like, where am I? I've been flying for wherever. I need to get down. Bird just drops him. Homeboy just drops him in the middle of the forest. Doesn't, like, try to take him back to, like, actually, I think he does drop him in a nest. So we do have to get out of the nest, which is fine, but it's, like, on the ground, so it's not that big of a deal. But it was a bit traumatic. I was like, damn. So this whole thing is we're trying to get Smushy home, like the name says. But yeah, it's cute. All right. So what I'm not sure about is I was thinking of, oh no, I think I will do this, because obviously this under here is all going to be white, and so I wasn't sure if I should put the white underneath, like, the gills of the mushroom first, or I think what I want to do is make the stem and not felt the end, and sort of to make it seamlessly more attached, use the end and fill it out in here, and then obviously we can add more if we need to. This gradient actually turned out okay. It's not, like, super, super noticeable, but I think that's kind of the point. It's meant to be a bit more subtle. We're adding, like, dimension and shiz. So. But yeah, so far, so good. I think we're just gonna try to get some of these. So one thing I'm still not entirely sure how I'm supposed to, like, when you have the little, like, one-off straggly bits of yarn or bits of wool, how to catch them on my needle to, like, stick them in the project. Because sometimes I'm able to do that, and sometimes it's like, nah, they're still just out here flailing about. Because I don't know if you see them on, like, I don't know, like, I'm sure on TikTok, but, like, I always see them on Instagram and stuff, where you see people needle felting, and I don't know what they're doing or how they're making this happen, where they just make, like, the smoothest looking things texturally, and I don't know if that's just, like, a camera trick or whatever, but, like, mine always have all of these, like, rogue threads and stuff in them, and I'm just like, how do you make them so smooth? Tell me your secrets. Okay. I do think that this is a good size. I don't know if we want to go a tiny bit smaller, just in case, because we do want to try to put 3 on here. The other 3 will just be super teeny tiny. Though I did notice that this kind of like smushed down, so I wonder if I still need to add a little bit more just to help like dome it out. But then again, looking at these guys, they're not really domed or anything, so I guess it's fine if they're a little bit flatter. That guy's a bit domed, but obviously that's a drawing and these are the actual photos. So we shall see. It's so funny. So I was chatting with my parents yesterday, and you know how I keep harping on about how my mom recommended this app called Seek to me, where you can use it to scan plants and bugs and fungi and all this kind of stuff to try to identify them. Well, my mom showed it to my grandpa, and my grandpa, he's like such a Luddite, right? He doesn't like technology. Like my grandma has Facebook, but like grandpa doesn't fuck with technology, right? But what he does do is he fucks with people who understand technology and then will ask all these things of him. So I remember when I was visiting, he would be like, oh, look up this place and look up this and look up that, right? So I guess he always loves that my dad always has his phone on him, because he'll always be like, Wayne, look this up. You know, he'll always like get people to look things up for him. Well, now, since my mom showed him the Seek app, he like goes around and is like, oh, you need to come and scan this and tell me what sort of plant this is. Is this a plant or is this a weed? What kind of plant is this? And obviously I was explaining how sometimes the app doesn't work right away, especially too if a plant is like easy to identify if it has like a specific set of flowers. Like I've noticed a lot of because our growing season, like our flowering season for some of our plants is done. The app doesn't really recognize them, because I think there's certain plants that have very definable features in different seasons. And so if it's not that season, you're not necessarily going to get the idea of what the species is. But I don't think you can't really explain that to my grandpa. Whereas he's like, well, didn't you take a picture of it? How come it's not telling you what it is? My mom's like, well, it's not. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's not a perfect system. But yeah, so she scanned so many different flowers and things, trying to ID them for my grandpa, which is so funny to me. Your grandparents too, but yours your grandma instead of your grandpa? That's so funny. Yeah, there's always the one where it's like, do this thing for me. You're like, okay. Which honestly, like, I guess that there's like a fine balance, right? Because I feel like you have like the one side of people who are sort of like technophobes but still engage with technology, and they usually like will come and talk to you when they've accidentally clicked a link and downloaded a virus or something, you know what I mean? Whereas then you have other people who are just so technophobe to the point of like they will just not, or they refuse to engage. But then so many things now require like an app, or require you to sign into something, or require you to like do this, this, and that. And it's like you either, I don't know, like I think sometimes elderly people, because they're not like actively engaging or going out of the house and doing these different things, they can kind of get away with not advancing with the technology a bit. But there are some people who are a few generations younger, and it's like, no, I think you'll get left behind if you don't know this stuff. Like it's you need to sort of like, you almost now, like, you need to know how Uber works, you need to know how like food service apps work, like those sorts of things. Like that's almost like part of like life literacy now. Like it's not even like tech literacy. I guess it kind of is, but it's almost like, you know, learning how to Google something, or learning how to like tell the time and read a map. You also have to know, obviously, like you're not teaching how to like book an Uber with children, but you still have to be like, okay, like if you're in a situation, normally there'd be like a list of emergency numbers you can call, or be like, this is the number for the cab company. And it's like, no, now this is the app. So you need to know how to work the app in order to get where you need to go. Which is interesting. Oh, I found out today before stream started, maple syrup can get moldy. Didn't think that could happen. I guess everything has the potential to get moldy, but for whatever reason, I thought a syrupy liquid in a tube was not going to do it. I don't know if this thing wasn't on. There was like the tiniest amount, right? And so I made myself oolong tea, and every once in a while I could put a bit of maple syrup in it. So luckily I hadn't poured the tea yet, or else that would have ruined a cup of tea and I would have been devastated. But I was just waiting for the cup to boil, put the stuff in there, put a little dollop. I was like, that's not enough. Put another dollop, and then all this like black powder came out. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I looked in the bottle, and it was almost like, it looked like charcoal-y, and then there was like some reddishy looking shit in there, and I'm like, okay, no, that's gross. So luckily I had to like, you know, I washed my cup and whatever, and then we had another bottle of maple syrup, and now I'm a little bit like paranoid, but I washed the cup, so it should be fine. But I was like, why? And that's the thing, right? I think the problem is I equate... Because isn't, like, honey supposed to be, like, naturally antibacterial or something like that? So I don't assume that honey can get moldy, but I guess anything can get moldy? I don't know, but it was weird. But, yeah, I was like, that's gross. That's something. I was today years old. Which, again, it's one of those where you're like, obviously that's a thing that happens, but for whatever reason, I was like, still seems weird. We might not be able to get 3 on here. Maybe we get 2. I don't know. We'll see. It kind of looks like a little red saucer right now. Like a little space saucer. A little bit. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, right? I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't want to assume. Like... Things that have milk, like sauces, like whatever, that makes sense to me. But stuff that doesn't need to be refrigerated. But then I'm like, I guess anything can, right? I say that because I know we don't refrigerate our onions, and obviously onions and stuff can get moldy, but I don't know why I didn't think that maple syrup had that capacity, but I guess it does. I guess most people consume their things, or they're like so tight, like, or they're not opened. So I don't know how long we had this maple syrup then for this to like be acting all nuts, but I guess we did. Okay. So this is our base, number 1. Now we're gonna make a second one, a second smaller one. So we'll see how it goes. Hi Saul, good afternoon, sir. How are things? I hope you are well. We were just talking about how the maple syrup in my house was moldy, and I didn't think maple syrup could get moldy. I was today years old when I learned, even though logically I assume that everything can kind of get moldy. You know what I mean? But yes, that is the conversation you have stumbled into. I don't know now. It might have been because I've not had oolong tea in a while. I don't know if I put enough maple syrup, or maybe I should have switched the cup. I did wash the cup, but now it's like, I don't know, the whole thing seems a bit tainted. I don't know, I'm not sure. It's not as delicious as it could be, which is a shame. But yes, so the plan is, yeah, I wish. No, I was talking about that, my newfound love of terracotta pot smashing. But no, I'm gonna recycle it like an adult. Rinse the container, recycle it like a responsible human being. I also think too that glass probably isn't ideal, you know, because those are shatter runs around and things. I'm not saying terracotta pots are, you know, not gonna cut you and stuff, but I feel like that seems safer than smash it. Yeah, I could. It's drying right now. The terracotta army, yeah, absolutely. That's alright, I'll pull a Wendy Wu on them and kick their asses. Anybody recognizes that decom, because I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened. Some evil force was going to wake up the terracotta warriors that they had got at the museum, and Wendy Wu had to save the day. All before her homecoming. I believe I marked that as S tier in my DCOMS rating, if I remember correctly. It's true. It's true. No, from smashing, I guess we sort of downgraded, you know? We went from smashing things to stabbing things, which honestly, I feel like is not that much of a pivot. This feels very, like, adjacent destruction skills, you know? One time my mom let us throw rotten tomatoes at our fence instead of throwing them out. I think we hosed it down afterwards, but it was really fun. That's so funny. See, I was hoping you would appreciate that, Saul. I low-key kind of did that for you. I was like, Saul's gonna like this pun. I was like, fucking nailed it. Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty proud of that. Okay, we are making a tiny little mushroom disc. I think we do probably need to add a bit more to the top as we move inwards. But yeah, so the plan is make 2 or 3 mushrooms. I'm hoping 3, but it might only be 2. We'll see. We'll make the stems, we'll decorate them, and then I want to lay down, I think probably the best thing, I don't know, it might be less messy to put the layer of glue down, glue the fake grass on it, and then glue on top of that. I think originally I was going to glue the mushrooms on first and then put the grass around it, but then I think that's going to get stuck all in the wool, and that's going to be a pain in the ass. I'm okay, slept fairly well despite the heat. That's good. I'm glad. I know you had a hand flare up, and I'm super happy to hear that that has passed, because I know that they're such a bitch. But yeah, no, the heat, it's because it hasn't been super humid where you are too. Here it's meant to like rain all week, so it's been like just sticky. Like the air is sticky, and that's not enjoyable. But we're making the most of it. It's rained now and it's like storming, so I think that's gonna cut some of the stickiness, but yeah, it came and went and then went. Yeah. You were fortunate twice. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of that, where it's like, it won't. I think sometimes, I remember the other day, it's almost like there was a rain cloud that was like circling the neighborhood, because at one point it was like raining and then it stopped. And then like a half hour later it was raining again and then it stopped. And it's like, there's just one cloud that's just doing a circuit. Like, figure it out. It was really bizarre too, because I feel like after my parents left, we got like this weird cold spell that I was just freezing, and it dropped down to like 18, and it was like, this is really random. And then it was sort of like this in between. Oh, I was getting so cranky a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I just want Mother Nature to make a decision. Like, is it going to be hot or is it going to be cold out? Because like, I feel like from every 2 hours, I'm either like boiling hot or I'm like super cold, like figure it out. And then she chose, 28 degrees. And I was like, I'm mad at you, but at least you committed. You know what I mean? I'm like, commit to a weather pattern, please. Okay, this is decidedly a lot less circular now. But I believe it is the size we want. So we're going to put a little bit of the orange around the perimeter like we did. I think that it turned out okay. It's not like super obvious, which is kind of the point. We want it to sort of be a bit more of a natural gradient, which is all good. But yes, I was saying that I'm thinking next month might be another themed stream month. Because I watched Princess Mononoke again. I rewatched it the other day. And I've been thinking about this for a while, that I think it'd be really fun to make like a San cosplay. For me, it will be a Halloween costume. I don't foresee myself going to a con anytime soon, but I would like to fully commit to the bit and like do the whole thing justice. So that means we have to make another dress. we have to make some things, because obviously I want to sew the costume and everything and like make all the components. I'm gonna get Liam to 3D print the mask, and I think maybe I'll try sculpting, like clay sculpting the jewelry pieces. Yeah, thank you. I was gonna say some of them are chipped, but that's usually what happens after about a week. But a couple of them, considering I actually cut my nails down to do some work, they're still holding on, so I'm quite pleased with them. But yeah, I was looking at patterns and fabric the other day and scheming and plotting, but I would like to try and get some of these bad boys, get some mushrooms, get some keychains and stuff done before we undertake another long-term project. I'm going back and forth between my desire to do whatever the fuck I want and the desire to actually make things that I can attempt to sell in the wintertime. There are two, There are two wolves inside of you. One that wants to make stock to sell at a craft fair, and one that just wants to spend loads of money on all of these random passion projects. You haven't seen that one in a while? Definitely recommend a rewatch if you've not. I quite enjoy it. I think that one's in my top 10 for sure. I think it's in my top 5 actually. Let me double check. I keep forgetting who my top 5 is, which is kind of sad. I know what my top 3 are, but yeah, it's number 4. It's in my top 5. Princess Mononoke is in my top 5. Yup. Recommend. I think I just love the Kodama as well. I don't know, there's so many like things I love about it. I also love the fact that, and I guess most of them, like most of Ghibli's stuff, I love how the Autobot blocked Pretzel Rocks because of this guy's name, which honestly I get, but anyway. But yeah, like how Ghibli characters, how there's no like clear villain, and I find like Lady Eboshi, she's like, for somebody who has like the desire to kind of take over the world and like control the forest, she then like offers disenfranchised people places to work and a job and security and all that kind of stuff. And so it's like, yeah, it's very interesting. And I find her to be a very cool character. And how even at the end where it's like, okay, well, nothing is resolved. Like the main bad is sort of resolved, but it's sort of like, okay, now we have to try to live more like harmoniously and a bit more ethically and stuff, which I think obviously is always a good cause. It was so dumb the other day. I found an article and it was like the best Studio Ghibli films based off of Rotten Tomatoes scores, and I was going through it, but as you got towards the end, it wasn't Studio Ghibli, it was Hayao Miyazaki specifically, but some of them only have, they would be like, oh yeah, this one's at like 96%, but only like 4 people have rated it, and I'm like, then that's not really a true, I don't know, like it was one of those where at the end of the article I was annoyed. I was like, I feel like this is an inaccurate list. Though I guess it does say what it says on the tin, where it's like we're rating it based off of Rotten Tomatoes scores. But it's like they didn't, then they said, well, it's a Rotten Tomatoes score, but only 4 people have rated it. So the average of 4 reviews obviously will be higher than the average of like 150 reviews, you know? I've started doing I'm like, I was overdue for it, and it's one of those where you keep saying to yourself, like, I'm gonna go through my clothes and get rid of the ones that like don't fit or the ones that have holes in them and whatever, and you say that to yourself and you just never do it. I finally started doing that because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's one of those things where I have a lot of like, oh, just because, like, I think I had 3 or 4 shirts. I think actually almost all of my tank tops had holes in them, because you know they always get that hole like sort of around the belly button area, I think, because they like catch on like jean buttons or zippers or whatever. For whatever reason, shirts always seem to start getting holes like around the belly button tummy area for whatever reason. But because I sort of am like, oh, well, they're like grubby casual clothes, like it doesn't matter. And I'm like, no, I have like nice casual clothes, you know what I mean? Like I have clothes without holes that I could be doing work in and it would be fine. So I finally, like, for an hour today, did like an initial cull of like, I don't wear this has a hole in it, I don't wear this. Like I'm trying to be a bit more ruthless, because I am running out of room in my wardrobe and it's full of a bunch of stuff that I'm like, oh, well, you know, maybe. And I also know too that there's a bunch of stuff in our loft that like is also clothes that clearly I've not seen for the past like 16 months. So I obviously, you know what I mean? Like in that respect, I'm like, oh, I should just get rid of all of them. But also maybe there's some like hidden treasure in there. Need to take a shop in my own closet and like find stuff that I'm actually gonna wear more. But we'll see. Because I just find myself reaching for the same few things over and over again, which actually is fine, because there's people who have like capsule wardrobes where it's like they only own like 12 things and then you just have to do more laundry, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, because I find, especially with the weather being so humid, our clothes take a million years to dry. But just have to be better at it, I guess. Really need to do a spring cleaning of clothes or whatever the hell is my closet right now. Yeah. The tiles are just getting out of hand. It's true, right? And that thing that I found as well, because I think I want to do a clear out, because I'm getting to the point where I think I need like a different wardrobe, because I actually have, the way my wardrobe is set up, it's like a bar to hang stuff, and then there's like a shelf, and then a bunch of drawers. And so I actually don't have any closet space for like long dresses, and I'm starting to acquire a lot more like maxi dresses and whatever, and all the casual ones I just like fold into a ball and like shove into my drawer, because they don't really need to be like kept nice, you know what I mean? But I feel like it would be good to have, and so I'm like, well, I want to go through everything, cull all of that, and then hopefully, yeah, just sort of rework what's going on. But yeah, to be fair, it's more than just the clothes. Like, I think there's a lot of stuff. I think the other thing too is every time my parents come over, because they're constantly having to like go through all of my grandparents' shit with them, and like they moved my aunt across the country and had to go through all of her stuff, and she has like dementia and was like a super hoarder and stuff like that. And so like every time we see each other, to be fair too, my mom, I talked to her, and she, like, when they got back from visiting, she like went in and has like 4 bags of clothes to donate, even from her own 2-bedroom apartment with my parent, like with my dad. So I'm like, yeah, we gotta get our shit together. And yeah, I think, you know, what happens is I think you almost get a bit like, oh my god, because you have people in your life that just seem to have so much stuff, and you then look around, and even though you're not at that state, you almost get a bit like scared and nervous that you're like, I never want to get to that place, so let's start getting rid of shit now. So I think that's kind of where I'm at right now, where I'm just like, there's too much. There's too much. And even though somebody could turn around and be like, no, you probably don't have too much, I'm like, no. For me, I think there's a lot of unnecessary stuff that we could get rid of to then make room for more deliberate and necessary storage. But it all takes time. Though my mom did say, it was so funny, because obviously this time around we were doing a bunch of like traveling, and we had the like reception and stuff, and we're doing a bunch of gardening, and they're coming back in November. And so my mom was like, yeah, I know you mentioned that you wanted to like reorganize your get rid of your bookshelf and do all this stuff. And so she's like, well, you know, it'll probably be too cold in November to be gardening, so guess what, we're going to be overhauling the inside of your house instead of the outside. And I'm like, please come and assist. Please come and assist. I would be grateful. But yeah, the only thing too though, and I don't know if people who live with partners and stuff, because like because I've told Liam, because Liam has a bunch of shirts, he has so many socks and all these things, and some things, the socks I will do. If the socks have holes in them when I'm putting them away, I'm throwing them out. But I don't feel comfortable going through Liam's stuff and making decisions on his behalf about what he wants to get rid of and what he wants to keep. And so, like, I can only do so much on my end, but there's certain things, like, for instance, the bookshelf is a shared space, and it's like, no more of the books down on there are his, and so I'm like, okay, at one point you will need to sit down and go through all of this in order to help in the shared mission of, like, getting rid of stuff. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Okay, these are looking really stinking cute right now. I do think we have the potential to get another one of this size probably, because I'm thinking, like, if we sort of stick the main guy here and then sort of either side stick the two little guys, I think that would be cute. All right. And then I guess the next step, this is going to be interesting, is making all the teeny tiny little white dots and stuff. Yeah. You know what it is? And it's funny because I said this to Liam and he brought up that exact story and is like, are you a bit traumatized by that story and that's why you won't touch my shit? And I'm like, honestly, maybe. Maybe subconsciously, yes. Yeah. I'm like, that story strikes the fear of God into me. So I'm like, I will not touch my partner's shit. Thou'st will not dispose of thine partner's crap. They must do it themselves. Yeah. Maybe that's what'll happen. I'm starting with the clothes. I'm doing like the first kind of pass because I have a massage appointment on the 18th. And so next to like the chiropractor's office that I go to, there is one of those like textile bins. It's like we take clothes and textiles and whatever. And so the clothes that I don't think are suitable for like reselling at a charity shop, I just dump in there. And so I'm trying to get all of that stuff, though I think I have half a bag of like textile trash and like a full bag of stuff I could probably donate. So I have to go through and continue doing that. The other thing too I need to do, because the shelf I have in my room, I've realized that like over time, because, you know, I have celiac disease and sometimes you have like gut problems and things like that, and I think maybe when I was like not in as good of a headspace or whatever, maybe my gut was suffering, I don't know. Basically this is a roundabout way of me saying I also seem to have a lot of like expired vitamins and supplements in the various drawers in my room from over time. And so I was Googling the other day of like what to do, because obviously I know with like prescription medication you're supposed to give it back to the pharmacist, but I'm like, what do you do with like over-the-counter vitamins and stuff like that? But it seems like you also bring them back to the pharmacist, so that's another thing I have to do, is just like gather all the expired boxes of whatever. I'm pretty sure I have like a giant container of fish oil supplements in my side table drawer, and I think one time I picked them up and I'm under the impression that they're all stuck together now. I'm like, I should just get rid of this. Yeah, I get that. You know what it is? I always find with like buying and reselling like, you know what I mean? Like whether you do an eBay or do a Vinted or do a like whatever, I feel like it's a cost time benefit analysis, where if you think, okay, how much is your time worth? because the amount of time it takes for you to take the photos of an item, post the listing, interact with potential customers for the listing, do the postage, send it off, all to get like what, 10 pounds? And I get it if you're doing a lot of stuff, but again, it's one of those where I'm like, okay, what's, like, if the amount of work you need to put in order to get the reward, if it is not at least, like, you know what I mean? If you're paying yourself hourly, like, let's say theoretically, right? The way I would think about it is, it's like, is the cost of me going through the process and putting in, like, let's say an hour's worth of work, am I making minimum wage with the return of this hour's worth of work? And if it's not, then I would just donate it. Like, I don't think it's worth it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I guess that's the thing that's a bit hard, is I do find some of those, like, bin places and stuff, there is a bit of lack of transparency as to, like, okay, where do these garments actually go? But you get to a point where you can only do so much research and put so much effort into finding out the answer, and then once you commit to a thing, you have to just be like, I've done my best, you know? Going to the post office is hard for me. I have some stuff I need to mail. Oh, I find them the same way too. I'm just, in general, luckily, because Liam ordered, again, because we wanted to play It Takes Two on the Switch. Liam ordered a second PlayStation controller, or so he thought. It was actually like a third-party PlayStation controller, and it didn't actually connect to the Switch the way we needed it to. And so he filed to, like, return it. It was through Amazon. But it was just getting through, like, getting to the post office to send it back. So luckily the post office is sort of like a little bit off. It's like on the way to the dentist. So I was able to do that for him. So it's like chick. But yeah, if I had a parcel, like, I think that happened to me the other day where I'm like, I've had this parcel, this return to send back for so long, but I'm not going in that direction. And also too, where the post office is, there's no park, like, there is parking in front of it, but it's street parking, and I don't fucking parallel park for shit, you know what I mean? So, like, I will go to a parking lot that does not require parallel parking and walk myself to where I need to be. That is my way to do things. But again, it's enough of a walk that I'm like, well, there's a grocery store here, there's a this here, is there other things I need to do? If not, I'm gonna wait until I have other shit to do and then do it all at once. I'm like, I try to make my outings as efficient as possible, but in doing so, that then causes me to take more time to do stuff, because I'm like, this is inefficient. Why would I leave the house today? This is an inefficient use of my time. I already took Shadow for a walk today. Why would I voluntarily walk again for the post office? An appointment? Yeah, sure, because that's a set in stone, an appointment. I'm going to disappoint people. I'm going to get charged a late fee if I don't show up. Go to the post office. They're not expecting me at the post office. I'm not gonna do that. You made me feel better about how I think about these things. Exactly. I think you need to cut yourself some slack, you know? I think we're all trying our best. And like you said, you can do the research, and then if they're not gonna deliver on what they say or do with these things, you can be like, well, this is my most informed opinion at this time. Because the other thing that I find happens with me as well is it gets to a point where you're trying so hard to find the most, like, eco-friendly, responsible, resourceful way to get rid of something, and because you either can't find the information, or the information is really confusing and overwhelming, what happens is then you just don't do it. So you're still stuck with the shit you were trying to get rid of in the first place. And so sometimes you have to be like, listen, nobody's giving me a straight answer, shit's going in the bin. Like, I can't, like, I need to get this stuff gone. I have tried my best to research where the option is. You are not providing me with an option to do this, but it has to disappear. Like, I have to get rid of it. You know what I mean? Like, it can be hard. Because I think I was thinking about that with some stuff too, where I was like, oh, I gotta get rid of, like, nail polish, gotta get rid of whatever, and you Google stuff, and it's like, oh, well, yeah, we can take back cosmetics, but they have to be empty. And I'm like, okay, well, what about this shit? What if it's full? Like, I don't know what you want. And then eventually you just go, gotta put it in the bin. I don't know. I have my share of donating this year. Yeah, I think I have still a bunch more donating to do this year. I'm going to try my share of, like, one of those Magpie. Like, I think, yeah, Magpie's one of them. Those, like, we buy and sell whatevers. The only problem with those, so we did that with Liam's granddad's DVDs and stuff, and so we were able to get a bunch of them sent off. The rest, luckily, this, like, buy and sell place that does CDs and DVDs was able to take them. The problem is I'm a very sentimental, nostalgic human being. You guys all know this. And so when I decided to move here 6 years ago, I decided I was going to bring a bunch of my CDs and a bunch of my DVDs, my Region 1 DVDs, which can only be played here in the UK if you have a specific region-free DVD player, because the region here, I think, is like Region 4 or 6 or whatever. Not compatible with UK DVD players, my DVDs. Well, of course, I've not watched any of them since I've moved here 6 years ago. And so I'm like, bitch, you have to get off your high horse and just think like I think what it was is, you know, you get this thing, and I don't know, like, it's like this unofficial, like, it's not unofficial, it is, it's like a superiority complex where I'm like, look at my DVD collection, I'm, like, so deep, and, like, look how interesting I am, because I have all these, like, weird, obscure DVDs, and I don't know, you think, like, you're gonna show people them and, like, blow their mind, or they're gonna ask you about them, and it's gonna be like, wow, look at me, I'm, like, an auteur of cinema, and it's like, bitch, no, you're not. Like, calm down. Like, what the fuck? So, I'm sitting there being like, if I desperately want to rewatch one of these weird, batshit crazy movies, I'll find it on Amazon and I'll pay the, like, whatever quid for it. You know what I mean? But some of them, I'm just like, I don't need these. Or it'll be like, you know, oh, I'm super into this actress, right? So it's like, well, I'm gonna have, like, even, like, her B-side deep cuts. Like, oh, I have all of these really interesting... I think the other problem, too, is a lot of the movies that I thought were, like, so cool and so hip and I was so deep or whatever were obviously, because I was, like, a teenager in my, like, early 20s, like, my teens, early 20s, was all of these films that were, like, indie films about, like, it was basically, like, Euphoria Light, I think. A lot of these movies I was interested in was like, ooh, this is like the gritty underside of high school, and like these are inappropriate relationships, and like, ooh, weird, you know, chaos, whatever, right? And now I'm a 31-year-old ass woman, and I'm like, I don't want to watch teenagers getting into dark, gross, you know, scandalous stuff. I don't feel like engaging in that content. And so, unfortunately, obviously, all of the actors and actresses now, even now, like, obviously, they're in their, like, 40s now. But, of course, they were in these, like, ooh, progressive, like, hippie, indie, dark, whatever films and stuff like that. And, of course, I'm sitting there being like, oh, I'm so cool and interesting. And I'm like, yeah, now I'm not. No. Self-aware is its own level of deep. Yeah, I guess so. It's true. But yeah, but the problem is, so I brought all these DVDs here, and the resale DVD store won't take them because they're Region 1 and they're going to be impossible to get rid of. So I'm hoping that which movies these are? Let me pull them up, actually, because I think I made a movie list. I have acquired more movies since then, but I do have a movie list. So let's go through Tasha's gritty, auteur, scandalous movies that she thought were just so important to bring across the Atlantic Ocean. Let's find them. Let's find them and see. Let's take you on a journey into how fucking cool I thought I was. Okay, naturally these, it's Region 2, by the way, is the British one. Okay, what is it? I kept Across the Universe. I was also a big Evan Rachel Wood stan. I feel like I still am, so that was another one. Her and Amber Tamblyn. I, like, ate up all of the shit that they were in, because they did a lot of, like, gritty, progressive stuff. So I was like, ooh, I'm gritty, progressive. No, I'm not. So I was like, well, I guess I'm progressive. I would like to see myself as progressive, but I'm like, ooh, I'm like, you know, a gritty rebel child, like straight A little Miss Prissy Pants over here, but pretend. You know, yes. So I do love Across the Universe. Not watched the DVD in years. So yes, Across the Universe had to come from Canada. To be fair, these ones I will keep. So actually, I don't even really like Chasing Amy. So Chasing Amy, Clerks, and Clerks 2. Fucking love Clerks. Fucking love Clerks 2. Chasing Amy is a bit mid to me. I'm like, I don't really care. Crazy Beautiful. To be fair, I do think this one's on like Netflix or something like that. It's with Kirsten Dunst, and she basically plays this like troubled rich girl who falls in love with this guy who's from the wrong side of the tracks, who's in at this prestigious prep school on like a scholarship, and they fall in love, and it's really like star-crossed lovers, Romeo and Juliet, but he's working his ass off to get a scholarship to go to university, and she's just like this unhinged rich white girl, and like how she, you know, they cause each other to grow and learn and expand their horizons, and it's like so deep and moving, and I love it so much. So that's the so yeah, Crazy Beautiful. What was the other one? Oh, Daydream Nation. I also fucked with everything that Kat Dennings did. So Daydream Nation is about a Kat Dennings character who, again, the reason why I can't watch this anymore, so Kat Dennings has a relationship with one of her teachers, and the whole thing is like she actually breaks his heart, and like, oh my god, but then there's like all this teenage whatever angsty cool stuff happening at the same time. So yeah, Daydream Nation. Deep in the Valley, that's a psychological fucked up film starring Evan Rachel Wood. It was a lot of that. So Evan Rachel Wood, same thing, but it's a fake thing, so it's meant to be like a dark comedy / like expose on stuff. But the whole thing, again, it's so problematic because it's painted as like Evan Rachel Wood, who is this schoolgirl who basically concocts this scheme because she wants to become a famous actress. So she then accuses a teacher of sexual misconduct, even though that's not the case, and gets her two friends in cahoots about it. And then there's like it's like this web of like, I don't know. It's one of those where, again, I thought it was so deep and so interesting and whatever. And now I'm just like, this is, sure, you know? So that was one. Devil's Carnival I will probably keep. Devil's Carnival is cool. I enjoy that one. Dogma's the GOAT. Again, another one started with Jay and Silent Bob. Love that one. But yeah, Devil's Carnival is cool. Devil's Carnival is from the same duo that did Repo the Genetic Opera. If you don't know Repo the Genetic Opera, that's like horror musical cult classic that everyone was obsessed with in my performing arts high school. But Devil's Carnival is like the next thing in that, which was very cool. Dogma's impossible to watch unless you have the DVD. Well, I'm obviously not getting rid of Dogma then. So if I've not heard of any of these, exactly, because I'm just like so cool and indie with my awesome, like, you know, obscure movie choices. Like, of course, you've not heard of them Patats, because they're like just like so niche and indie and edgy, and like, obviously, that's why you've not heard of them. Oh yeah, 100% Weinstein's an ass butt. Yeah, that makes sense. Tash, you were so cool and indie with your awesome obscure movie. Thank you. Thank you. This is the Natasha being pretentious hour. I'm like, look at my... And then watch you look, and I'm sure the critics' scores of these movies are like 38%, 20%. Like, I'm sure. Here, actually... Let's go. This is going off the rails. We are unhinged right now, but that's okay. Why don't we... Let's go to IMDb, and let's check. We will go to IMDb, and we will showcase. This is gonna go up here. This is going to pop out and go over here. And we're basically gonna, we're gonna showcase the Tasha's cool indie movie extraordinaire. Yeah, okay, so what are... Let's go through. Obviously, we know this one. Across the Universe, we know. Chasing Amy, Clerks, whatever. Okay. So just Crazy Beautiful. Let me show you. Came out in 2001. So this is like, ooh, edgy, sophisticated. Kirsten Dunst as a baby. Jay Hernandez, that's his name. He was a smoke show. Look, they're so cute. And oh, wow, yeah. When it's real, it's right. Ooh, yeah, awesome. Oh, that's an ad. But yeah, what is this? When fate steps in and brings together two high school seniors from opposite sides of the track, it's something crazy beautiful in this sexy, fun, and energetic story of first love. Yeah, high school Tasha ate that shit up. High school Tasha ate that shit up, obviously. What was this one? Daydream Nation. I feel like I saw this. Maybe. Yeah. Daydream Nation, 2010. Oh yeah, this guy thought he was so cool. Oh, Andy McDowell's in this. Yeah, Josh Lucas. Again, indie. Juno reimagined by David Lynch or Funnier, Sunnier Donnie Darko. I'm sorry, does that not scream like cool, edgy, whatever the fuck? A city girl who moves to a small town and becomes entangled in a love triangle between her high school teacher and stoner classmate. Yes, because yes, that is a love triangle. That is not a gross misuse of power and abuse. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Josh Lucas is the teacher in this situation. And then, yeah, Reese Thomas is this, like, stoner boy. And I feel like, you know what it is? I feel like there's a scene, this is, like, the teacher's girlfriend, and there is a moment where she, like, puts on, like, a plaid skirt and even says, like, oh my god, don't I look like one of your students or something like that? And the teacher's like, yeah, whatever. Not that I'm totally sleeping with one of them, obviously. But yeah. Oh, there's Kat Dennings being moody and crying. Oh yeah, this guy's in it. The dude from Austin and Ally. He was in a bunch of, like, dark indie shit for a while, and then he got cast as, like, the doofiest man in the world. That's so cringe. Oh my god. It's true! She is from Clueless, the show. That's true. See, I might have to rewatch these before I bring them on. I don't know if I can, though. But yeah. No. So yeah, Daydream Nation. Oh, Deep in the Valley. To be fair, I will keep this one. I religiously talk about this movie because I think it is the most hilarious shit in the world. And also, I can't take Chris Pratt seriously as, like, a conservative Christian whatever the hell, because he starred in this movie. Look at these big names. Jenna Jameson, Denise Richards, Kim Kardashian. Chris Pratt was in it, and Scott Conn. I have the DVD of Lie With Me, and it's a little raunchy with Eric Balfour, who's one of my huge crushes, but, like, no one has seen that movie. No. Never heard of it. Exactly. But yeah. So this is basically a movie. Let's read the synopses. Basically, me and my two dude friends used to go to the video store and try to rent the most, like, sexist, inappropriate, raunchy shit we could ever find. That was, like, you know, this is what's this rated? Oh, it's rated R. Yeah, it wasn't, like, you know, whatever. But basically, so a mysterious video booth transports two friends to an alternate reality out of a pornographic film. And Chris Pratt plays the porn-obsessed man. And I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. You are a little Christian Republican boy now? I don't believe it. I don't believe it, because you starred in this nonsense. And I get to, some people star in films and they're, like, completely not like the characters that they play in films, but I'm like, I cannot take you seriously. But it's really funny in, like, a really stupid and deranged way. Tracy Morgan also cameos in this. It's like, it's honestly, it's like the dumbest shit. Yeah. So I will keep that one because it's hilarious to me. Devil's Carnival, Dogma, what's another one? Heathers, obviously, keeping that one. Howl is a good movie, but now obviously I feel things about James Franco, so he gots to go. This is about Allen Ginsberg movie, film. Again, I thought it was, like, so deep. It's kind of a funny story. It's really good. Kaboom is really good. Actually, no, Kaboom is wild. Kaboom is interesting. This is another one that I was like, I'm so cool and progressive and pretentious about having this one. This one is wild. A sexually undeclared, so he's not identified what he identifies as. Okay, cool. A sexually undeclared college freshman's clairvoyant prophetic dreams are the first sign that something strange is going on involving his classmates with him at the center. It's basically this, like, sexy psychological horror, not horror, psychological prophetic indie movie that, like, involves a cult and the end of the world. It's very strange. But again, I was like, no one's ever heard of this movie, and, like, it's so radical, and, like, I'm so cool for having it. Never seen it. Aw, Kat, you gotta see Heathers. I do love Heathers. I also love Heathers the musical. If anything, I almost like the musical more than I like the film. But they are classic. Mallrats. Nick and Nora's Playlists, I also love. That one's based off of a book, also starring Kat Dennings. Love her. But yeah, Pretty Persuasion. Yeah, Normal Adolescent Behavior. So do you guys remember the movie Havoc that starred, like, Anne Hathaway or something like that? I never saw that one. But there was a second one. It was Havoc 2. And it was called Normal Adolescent Behavior, starring Amber Tamblyn. And she is Wendy, and basically the whole thing is about this group of high school kids that are all best friends, and they decided that to relieve the pressure and, like, concern of like, getting in relationships and stuff like that, they're all just going to sleep with each other. And so they basically have this, like, little best friend sleep around cult. And then Wendy, Amber Tamblyn, meets a guy who she actually is interested in. And then her friend, who's, like, the queen bee of this group, is like, oh, she's betraying us. We need to, like, so she basically has to, like, I don't know. And then Ricky Ullman's randomly in it. So, you know, Raviv Ullman. And also the dude from Laguna Beach. Very strange cast. Very strange cast. Yeah, what's his face? Stephen Coletti. So he's in this movie as part of the friendship cult. Amber Tamblyn's in the friendship cult. Kelly Garner, this dude. And then, yeah, Raviv Ullman with the strange... Yeah, look at this guy. Raviv Ullman with, like, the strangest emo side sweep. And they all just, like, hook up with each other. And that's, like, their friendship cult. And then Wendy basically burns it to the ground because she wants to have an actual human relationship with another person who's not in the friend group. Edgy and cool and fun and so indie awesome. Like, whatever. But yeah, so again, like I said, this isn't all of the movies, but that is a lot of the movies. Just me thinking, yeah, whatever. That was such a thing, though. And I guess because, like, I don't know. There's other ones, too. A lot that can get rid of. Teeth is another one. You guys have seen Teeth. Teeth is actually a cult classic, and that's really good, but I'm not a big horror movie fan, so I don't even know why I have Teeth. But you guys know about Teeth, right? Teeth is the one with the girl who has the, like, the vagina teeth, and when people are taking advantage of her, the teeth come out and snatch the knob off. So I have that one too. But again, I've not watched it in a long time. I think it's fun. You know, it's one of those things where I think I kept that one because it's sort of really funny. And it sounds so fucked up, but it's really funny when, like, I was single and, like, you know, whatever, being like, do you want to watch Teeth to, like, dudes? Just to make them squirm and be uncomfortable. Is that a little sociopathic? Is that a little messed up? To be like, boys, let's watch a movie. A sexy horror movie about knobs being chomped off. Wouldn't that, like, be so fun? So are you saying a grown adult shouldn't be watching those? I feel like we might need to, like, give these movies a send-off and watch them just to be, like, you know, to give them their last goodbye. Some of the, I don't know. I'm like, you should, but maybe you should in the privacy of not around other people. Because, again, there's a lot of just, like, unnecessary, gratuitous nudity. Maybe it's not unnecessary. It's probably, like, I think some of it's relevant to the plot. Some of it's not. So, I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about watching, like, sex scenes with friends and family. So, I guess that would be your metric of whether or not you should watch them in a group or if you should watch them by yourself or not at all. My friends that were really cool in high school watched Teeth. Exactly. I don't know what it is. You're just like, oh, I'm like... Again, I'm just so cool and interesting because I watched this movie about this evil vagina. But yeah. You know all about Teeth? Yeah. Sorry, I had to go nap. Couldn't stay awake. Kept having flashes of somebody in a garden smashing me with a hammer and burying me in a cabbage patch. Are you saying you're made of terracotta, Saul? What a fun dream. You're like, I'm a terracotta pot, and Tasha's on a rampage to try to smash me to pieces. I saw 50 Shades with colleagues. Yeah. So maybe that would be okay. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about... That's true. Yeah, so you probably could. Yeah, I think they're definitely options. I guess I just, yeah. I'm sure a lot of them, I don't know, they might be terracotta Tash. I'm gonna make it into a video. Oh, that would be incredible. Excuse me? Just like a little 8-bit me running around with a hammer smashing like little plant pot people. That would be incredible. Somebody make that shit. Absolutely. That would be incredible. I would love that. But you gotta make sure I need to have safety glasses on, because, you know, safety first. We are going on a terracotta pot smashing rampage, but, like, safety first. Because sometimes we were smashing them, and then the snaps of the pot were, like, ricocheting in different directions, and it was like, good thing we have eye protection on. Don't want to have a stabby stab in the face with a terracotta pot fighting back. Tash dash. No, it's Tash smash. Sounds like a Hulk. It's like a Hulk. See, I would say it's like a Hulk, but I'm sure I'm very much more like Wreck-It Ralph style. You know, it's like, I'm gonna wreck it. Tash gonna smash. That could also be construed inappropriately, but like we're gonna remember we're grounded in the fact that I am physically crushing things. Don't get it twisted. The Tash dash smash. Tash dash smash. I love it. 100%. I would like to invest. I'm just going to try and get these little floofs in place a bit better. We're going to add a little bit more red. And then, wait, I don't get the innuendo to go in my head. Absolutely, and that's okay. I don't think it did. I just feel like people usually... I feel like the term smash can have multiple meanings. Do you just want me to explain it to you and, like, make me feel really uncomfortable about when yeah. When two people love each other, sometimes people use different phrases to refer to the lovemaking that they do when they are in love. And if you're a crude individual or who has the sensibilities of a 12-year-old prepubescent child, you might use the term smash. Oh, interesting. You only knew bang. Nah. Nope. Maybe this is a North American thing. Maybe the British, you're so refined. The British don't smash. We bang. Isn't that's a Ricky Martin song, isn't it? It's not we bang though, it's she bang. So someone smashes like that. Really? It must be a North American thing. It's time to smash. Yeah. I think that's what it is. You know what it is? I think that's why no one really says it though. No, I don't think so. People do. Again, I think maybe I just have like, I don't know, default innuendo brain. Maybe it's just me, guys. Are you making me really uncomfortable? And now it turns out that I'm the only one who thinks inappropriate thoughts when I hear the word smash. Interesting. Interesting. I think that says more about me than it says about you guys. Just gonna sip my tea and smash has also been extended to a slang metaphor to mean to bow. Yes, that's true. Yeah. Haha. Is that smash has also been yeah. Devour. Exactly. Devour. Have casual sex with somebody. It's the latter slang evidenced by at least the early 2000s. That's true. Smash or pass. That's why. Smash or pass. See, it's not just me. We could try and promote it over here. Nah, that's all right. You know what it is? I think that's probably, I'm sure the youths have a new slang term for that. You know what I mean? I feel like I would try to make that happen. They'd be like, that's just some like dumb millennial shit. Like, don't even. You know what I mean? I'm sure the youths already have a cool new slang term that means to have copulation with another person. So we don't need to. I'm not gonna try to make smash happen. You know, it's like fetch. Don't make smash happen. It's not gonna happen. I think though, this is probably why I think that the fact that my video game called Smushy Come Home makes me really uncomfortable. Because the term smushy to me sounds like smash, smush, and mush all together. Which then, I was already talking about this earlier, so I don't know if you were here, but I have this cute mushroom game that I'm playing, and it's called Smushy Come Home, and it's about a little mushroom named Smushy, and for whatever reason, the term smush, smushy, makes me uncomfortable, because it reminds me of, like, a little child playing with, like, their Barbie dolls, being like, and now I make the Barbie shmush, and that's, like, little kids speak for smash, or bang, you know what I mean? So it just, I find that in like, with like mushroom content where it's always like the smushies or the mushlings. And I'm just like, those all sound like sex terms to me. Those sound like sex terms. But I guess, you know, what I'm learning is that my brain just defaults to that. And maybe that's just a me problem and I need to get over it. It's what Smurfs do. It's true. Yeah, Smurf smush. See, I feel vindicated in why I have discomfort. Yeah, the Smurf smush. Exactly. Exactly. That's why it makes me uncomfortable. I'm like, that's a position. Call up the Karma Sutra. A sex default brain is okay by me. Well, that's okay then. No wonder they're always blue. Blech. Yeah, No, because that would imply that they're not smushing because they get blue balls so bad that they're just completely blue. That's what it is. Yeah. They're decidedly not smurf smushing. Call up the Kama Sutra. We'd like to make a new edition. I would call this one the Smurf Smush. Please add it to the book. I think it will catch on. It will be all the rage. This guy is actually even smaller than this one. Interesting, interesting. I think that's fine. Oh no! Stop for killing my sensor. So what do the Moomins do? I don't know, man. That one's not as obvious to me. I guess though, do the Moomins mush? I can't. We need to stop. You said you put it in my brain. You asked the question. Yeah, I guess, yeah. If we're following the same, like, verbal, like, the same vernacular across the board. Smurf smush. Smurfs smush. Moomins mush. Blech. Oh dear. Yeah, Smurf smash, Moomin. Yeah, Smurfs smoosh, Moomins moosh. Mm-hmm. I just want to make this guy a little bit bigger. I don't know, he feels like too tiny compared to the other one. I feel like this is too small. But yeah. Stream took a bit of an odd turn today. Not... It happens, guys. It happens. I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying it's interesting. We were just talking about... Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, well, this was teenage early 20s auteur indie cinema Tash. This is the one who thought she was cool and progressive when she read Lolita in the 12th grade, you know? Like that was the vein. That was the vein. I do think, though, like, I do feel like there is a place for those types of films for younger people to watch them, because I do think, like, as long as you're not going out and, like, recreating some of the shit, you know what I mean? But it's, like, I think there's different ways to explore sexuality and have an understanding of what that is and what that means for you, and I do think that media plays a part in you being able to explore that in a safe way. You know what I mean? Page 61. I actually have a copy of it downstairs. I have an annotated version. I wonder if it would still be in the annotated version. Should I go and check? Yeah. Probably. I actually highly recommend, I think I talked about this before, but I listened to something called, I think it was called the Lolita Cast, and it was a podcast all about a deep dive into exploring and unpacking and understanding the novel, the book Lolita, and then the subsequent cultural phenomenon around. Yeah, you can't, yeah, too much smooshing. Yeah, exactly. No, I wouldn't read it on stream. I just wanted to know what you were, yeah. But yeah, it's really interesting because I do think, because again, I was somebody who wore the heart-shaped sunglasses and thought I was cute and edgy and like watched the movies and all this kind of stuff, and I watched, you know, the edits of the Jeremy Iron version and things like that, and then you sort of realize like what the book was trying to say versus what society culturally went and turned it into, and how a lot of the narratives get perpetuated today when you really have to distill and look at what was actually being said. And yeah, I just found it's a heavy podcast, but it's a limited series, and they kind of go through and break down these different things. But obviously all the trigger warnings for that kind of stuff. But I do think, like, it's a really interesting perspective and an interesting deep dive, and I think it caused me to unpack a lot of what I was, like, you know, my misinterpretation of the source material and the ensuing, like, media movie consumption of that film and of that narrative, and how reading or listening to that, reflecting on, like, what my teenage self was, like, trying to prove or project or be edgy about, and, like, what that actually was, you know? But yeah, highly recommend if you want to do some soul searching or just want, you know, more context. I think too, even if, like, it's too difficult for people to read the book, which I do think some people, they just can't because it's, like, you know, too disturbing. The podcast is a nice way to sort of break that down in a bit better way and not have you actually need to engage in the material. But yeah, highly recommend. Very interesting. But yeah, there was a lot of that. But like I said, I do think that sometimes it's a safe way to explore and have an understanding of your own sexuality and engaging in the world as a sexual being through watching those things happen in movies and in media, and not engaging in them yourself as a way to, like, explore and understand that, but keeping yourself safe at the same time. I think that, like, if I were to unpack why that was, like, a type of material that I was really drawn to, I do think probably it came with unhealthy beauty standards and, like, you know, a sense of performative nature of that sort of thing. And so I don't think I didn't inherit the negative, I don't know, the lack of media literacy or the understanding. Because I think the thing too is, as much as you engage in something for research purposes or whatever, sometimes you think, like, oh, that's how I'm supposed to act, or that's what's, like, alluring, or that's what's, you know, gonna get people to like you or whatever. Whereas that is a fictionalized universe, and that's not actually how it works. But obviously you don't really know that until you get out in the world and experience that. Okay, that's a bit better in terms of size. We sort of lost our orange, so we're gonna put that back. Put that shit back where it came from. So help me, so help me. But yeah. So basically, needless to say, whether or not I decide to watch all those films before I send them on their way, but I'm hoping that, like, Magpie, or the, like, we buy and sell, between some of the books I want to get rid of, the DVDs, and the CDs. I don't want to get rid of all the CDs, but I do think there's probably some that I can get rid of. Because, again, I'm sentimentally attached to media. So I think the CDs are a bit harder. No! Fuck your meeting, potates. Patats. Potates. Patats. Why would I call you potates? I think I want to say potato, and then I want to say patats, and then it became potates. Damn. Oh, Saul's gotta leave too. Yeah, I'm sorry. We were just too invested in the Smush Mush bush. I hope you have an amazing stream, Saul. As always, I love when you stop by, and I will see you later. And damn, patats, I'm so sorry you have a meeting. See, you know, the work sucks, I know line from Blink-182's All the Small Things, I feel really resonates right now. I have K-pop CDs in case of the apocalypse. But I'm yes. You don't. Oh, you don't. Really? So you have the CDs, but you don't have the CD player. Now that I think about it, I don't know if I have a CD player either. I have a PC disc drive. F Patats Media. Never. No, not F your stream. Though I do like when you hang out with me. But I understand. The show must go on. The show must... Did you actually? How were they? That would have been so good to see. That would have been an amazing experience. Did you go to Coachella? Is that where you saw them? How were they live? I bet that would be awesome. Honestly, I do think that, like, there's certain songs that are, like guarantee, no skip, always listen to. All the Small Things is one of those for me. Yeah, make sure I'll address second text by Cuter. Yes. Yeah, it's true. Oh, yeah, old school Discman. That would be, Yeah. That seems necessary. But yeah, I don't think so. I don't think we have one either. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I have this media, but no way to consume it. Okay. This one is giving more inflated disc right now and less of a, I don't know. I think we need to add a little bit more to the top. We'll see. Yeah, my BF sister really likes them, so I got us tickets. They were honestly so great. Yeah, I don't know too many of the songs, but it was a really great time. Yeah, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because you also went on vacation too. Yeah, honestly though, like I'm the same. I feel like I'm not very good at posting regularly on social media. And I feel like, you know, sometimes you just get busy experiencing things, and then it's kind of like afterwards you're like, well, I'm back to the grind. Like I don't know, like sometimes there's like a window, I find, like when you do an activity and experience a thing that like you can then post about it afterwards, but like once that window has passed, you're kind of like, whatever, like the time has passed, you know what I mean? And so you're kind of like, oh shit. So the only other time that then makes sense is if you do like a throwback Thursday or like a follow-up, like a flashback Friday. Like that's how my brain works. I'm like, oh, it's been too long since the event happened. I can't post it now. Unless it's a throwback, specifically being like throwback to like a month ago where I did this thing and never told anyone about it. Hey, like that's how my brain works. But that's awesome. Yeah, I think it's one of those where I think like I probably only know like the singles, like the Blink-182 songs that were released as singles because they played them on the radio all the time, and then like the music videos were played on TV and stuff. So I don't think I know very many of like the deep cuts or like the B-sides, but I feel like the songs I would know, I would lose my freaking mind for. Oop. Okay, this needs a bit more. So I added this floof kind of last minute, and so it's taking a bit to attach itself. But I think once this is attached, it is officially time to add the little white floofs, little white dots on the mushrooms, and then we will do the stems and then attach her all together. My phone's less than a battery. Yeah, never do. Any moment that you stop by is a moment I appreciate. You know, if people can stop by for like 5 minutes, for, 2 minutes just to stop by, work and lurk. You can stay the whole stream. I always appreciate you. All right. There we go. 3 little mushroom caps. So now, yes, no problem. I appreciate the lurky lurks, Patats. I hope your meeting goes well. I always appreciate when you stop by, and I hope the rest of the workday goes well for you. And I hope you have lots of coffee and cat cuddles. All right. So again, I'm a little bit concerned about how long the strands are for how much. Okay. To be fair, we can probably put so many little white dots, but I don't want to go crazy because again, I find the strands are so long and I struggle to then get the strands into where they need to be. I don't know. We'll see. And so I think we just need to, instead of, I know before what I've done is I, like, when I was doing more, like, I guess, cartoony looking ones, I would make all of the individual little circles and then add them afterwards and, like, position them. But I think our best bet here is just to start attaching and go from there. But see, yeah, there's like this really long strand. There we go. So we're trying to capture that and not push it too far into the base. And it is something that they struggle with. Watch a little bit on these mushrooms and how to make safe to use to get you high. My sister sent to me. Not sure where. Yeah. Well, they are actually, I know in the States, they're starting to trial use of psychotropics in management of different mental illnesses. I can't remember which ones. I think it might be depression. I don't know if it was PTSD as well, but I know that they're starting to trial for basically like the use of magic mushrooms, and I can't remember what the, you know, the medical term or whatever is, but they're starting to do trials and stuff on that, which is cool because I think, you know, any way you can get sort of a more natural way to do stuff, I think that that's cool. I think obviously there will be a long, long way before that has any salience for the UK because we still haven't decriminalized marijuana. So I think, you know, we have plenty to go before we get anywhere near that sort of a thing. But it is interesting. There we go. First little dot. Second little dot. Oop. I'm also under the impression with these that they don't all have to be like a uniform size, so we're just gonna... Again, this is embedded how I want it to be, but then I guess I can always cut those off afterwards, because I don't quite know how to stick them in here without it causing problems. But yeah, how do we get the tiny little stragglers to embed themselves in the project? Dunno. We're still figuring that part out. Whatever. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. The tiniest strands of fluff. So right now we're just adding all of the little... Oh, that's massive. All the little white markings on the mushroom. It might be, I know we still have like, what? We have an hour. So we'll see. Ideally, it would have been cool to get this done, but I think, you know, we want to take our time with it. So what might happen is we either finish this one on stream or I finish it off stream and we work on a new one on Thursday. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. I'll probably finish it. I'm excited about this. Because the other thing, too, is, again, it's that fine balance of, you know, making content, but also trying to make stock of stuff to actually sell at some point. So the only problem I'm finding with putting it in like a little ball is that then it's already kind of really tightly wound, and so I can't actually get it to stay like to attach. I don't know. We'll see. I'll put this on top. See if we can add a little bit more. That seems to work a little bit. Might be that we have to layer the spots in order to get them to adhere to the mushroom cap. Yeah, so far I am under the impression, like, these are looking cute so far. Obviously, like, they don't really look like much, but I think we are getting somewhere. Because again, I always say that needle felting will not look like the thing 90% of the time you're working on it, and then it will all come together in the last 10%. But I do think that these are actually, like, they look like mushroom caps. I have no illusions that this is not gonna work out, you know? Whereas some of the things I work on, I'm like, I have no idea what this is gonna look like, so we try our best. Stopped raining, which is nice. Nice and not nice. It's not nice because I want my flowers to get some more water because they desperately need it. But again, Liam is driving home. I don't know if he's home yet. I assumed I would know he was home because Shadow would go apeshit because I think the back door is locked and that's how Liam needs to get in the house. But if not, because then if it's not raining, then he could do a bit more work in the yard. Because I know he's keen to do more work on the patio, but we'll see. We shall see. I think tomorrow my brother-in-law is coming over, so they will have all hands on deck for that. I'm really excited for it to be done because then I can start looking at like patio furniture and stuff like that. Because right now we do have chairs and stuff that we use on our like sort of in the front part of the garden. The front part of the back part of the garden, if that makes sense. We sort of have like a tiered garden. So we have like the balcony, sort of a platform, and then another little platform, then the actual yard with the grass, and then a dip down where it's this patio area that we're gonna have a barbecue pit, and then the garage itself. So in that area, we want a bit more like permanent patio outdoor furniture. So that'll be really exciting to look at. I also too wouldn't even mind because I have a hammock that I love. But I think it would actually, like, until we get the right patio furniture, it might actually be really nice down there because right now, because of the way our garden is tiered, our neighbors, their patio is also a bit tiered, and our, our fence panels are not, like, 6 feet high or whatever, and so we can sometimes see into each other's yards, or you can see people coming and going when you're, like, lounging, whereas down by the barbecue pit area, like, you can't look over the edge unless you physically try to pop yourself over, so it's a lot more private down there and a lot quieter and stuff. So I think that will become the main sort of outdoor socializing hangout area just because it is a bit more private. So it might be a nice place to stick the hammock in the evening. or even just during the day, because I do think that that place, like, it's a south-facing garden, so when the sun's going down, it does get quite hot, but I think because that's a bit more enclosed, I don't know. We'll see. It's exciting, though. So there's what it's looking like so far. Not bad, not bad. I do think I will go over, like, sort of double up some of the white components just so that they're a bit more vibrant. I don't know. And also I'm a bit worried, like I said, they're not really sticking to the base of them, like sticking to the actual mushroom cap itself. They're just kind of hanging out here. So if I add a bit more fluff to what's already laid down, that might give me a bit more confidence that these aren't going to be moving around anywhere. Couple, like another one, maybe like another one or two on either side here, and then we'll start going over them and like reinforcing them a little bit. I don't know why, I guess because they're like kind of embedded a little bit. It's kind of giving me like pimple or like tonsil stone vibes, which kind of is a bit uncomfortable. I think it'll look fine when it's like all done, but for whatever reason, I don't know if I maybe feel, because like I get tonsil stones sometimes, so maybe I'm feeling a little bit triggered by like adding all these little white like pustule looking things into this red background. But I'm sure it'll look cute in the end. I actually really like the sort of orange gradient, like little orange dimension I've added to this. I am quite pleased with that. Okay, I do think that this looks good. Oh, sorry. In terms of the amount, I guess. So I'm just gonna add a bit more to what's already there just to help make them a little bit brighter, bolder, more obvious. So like I said, I am worried about all these white scragglies that are hanging out, but I can always trim them. So maybe that's what I'll do. Because I feel like sometimes I felt with this, and I felt with like the tiniest amount, but I think the first notch, oh no, it is quite far. It is quite close. Because I'm almost like, oh, am I not pushing it in far enough and actually to start the like knotting, the tangling process that sort of allows this to fuse together. But I do think that the first notch is quite low down, so I do think that it should be okay, hopefully. trying not to like bundle up the fibers as much to help like attach them to the mushroom cap, but I don't know. I don't know if it's a better strategy or not. I just find when you don't pre-bundle them, you get more of these little stragglers, but I think maybe what I'll do, again, we still have like a half hour. If we don't get this done, I think what I'll do is I won't finish the entire thing, but I will finish making, like I'll finish felting the mushrooms off stream, and then on Thursday we can put the piece together and then also start our fairy ring option. I'm just gonna I can't tell if it's really making that much of a difference or if I should just move on to the next little guys. Okay. I think that's not bad. We'll move on to the other ones. Just see. Make this a little bit more. Okay. Now we'll add. So I'm under the impression, obviously, that like because these ones are smaller, they will then have smaller dots on them, which might be a bit more of a pain in the ass to do, but we will persevere. Like, they wouldn't be the same size as the bigger one, like as the big ones, you know what I mean? Because they're smaller in size, so therefore everything, I assume, would also be smaller. Tiny dots. And again, we're not gonna like, I don't know, have any rhyme or reason to them. We're just gonna stick her on here, and then when it seems like it's done, then we will continue. why that this piano piece is sort of reading like it's out of a horror film right now. Hi, Probacus. I'm doing well. How are you? How's your day gone? Did you have a nice weekend? I am doing well. We're needle felting little mushroom caps, and it's going very well. So I am well, thank you. Yeah, I think we're gonna skip this one. This song is reading horror film to me for whatever reason. It was so-and-so. Yeah, that's alright. That happens sometimes. You hit the beach! Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, is it still stupid hot there? It's been 1 week since you looked at me. No, it's been, like, very humid here. It's not been, like, super, whatchamacallit? Yeah, it's not been, like, super hot. Like, it has been, but it's been more just, like, sticky and muggy because it wants to rain. 41. Oof. Oof. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. It was a whiny journey. Oh, no. How come? Was it one of those are we there yet situations? Were people being rather impatient? Or was it because you had you were Funkle dutying and you weren't, we said that we were reached 45. Wow. Wow. Do you have air conditioning where you are? Like where you live? Or do you have to just like lie in front of a fan and hope for the best? Alright. Oops. Doesn't want to attach himself. Okay. Both fans and aircon these days. Yes. Yeah. That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad. I think both are necessary with those types of heats. Definitely. Alright. I do think that that's enough for this guy. I don't really want to overwhelm him with like a bunch of little dots. But we are going to reinforce some of these because I do think that they're a little bit too small and undefined. Yes, yeah. 333. It's true. My half angel. Nail Queen, how are you, my friend? Thank you so much for the raid. How are you doing? How is life? What were you working on? Welcome in, friends. I'm Nostalgia Tash. Today we are needle felting. Sometimes we cross stitch, sometimes we needle felt, sometimes we paint our nails, sometimes we sew. I don't know, man. We just a crafting channel that do all sorts of crafty things. But our bread and butter is whatchamacallit, is needle felting and cross stitching. So that's what we are doing today. I am doing well, thank you. Trying to keep cool, trying to stay dry, trying to do all the things. What were you working on today? Were you doing some nails? Or were you doing some crafts? I'm excited to hear all about it. It is tea time. Oh, this is the Probacus health check, guys. Guys, if you have not, everyone check your posture. Grab yourself a beverage. Cutting t-shirt yarn. Oh, cool. Yes, health is important. Everyone take a minute. Let's do some stretches. Everybody stretch, everybody stay hydrated, and everybody check your posture. Jeez. Ugh, my shoulders. Because we all know that when we craft, we turn into craft goblin, craft gremlin mode. And gremlins have infamously terrible posture. Did you know? So we must try to reverse the negative, the gremlin mode. But yes, thank you for that, Probacus. Back to the business. Back to business. But yes, we are... So the plan is, we're felting these little mushrooms. We are then going to stick them on a little wood base. And we're actually going to put... I have this, like... This is left over from a miniatures kit that I did. It's kind of like a fake grass. So just to add a bit more depth, dimension, interest, we're going to put some glue down here, cover it with the grass, and then add the mushrooms afterwards. I have all of these different sized pieces of, like, wooden circles. Yeah, no problem, Nail Queen. Do what you gotta do. I appreciate if you need to raid and run, if you need to raid and lurk, go take care of yourself. I know streaming is long and arduous, and so we gotta stay healthy, happy, and thriving. So you do you, but thank you for bringing your peeps over here to me. So yes, I do think that we will... I don't know. Part of me now thinks that maybe we will finish, because we do have a half hour. We'll see how it goes. I think because these guys are smaller, ergo they're not going to have as many little white spots on them, so therefore it hopefully doesn't take as long to get these done. Then we can work on our stems, and then we can do the attachment process. Do a little bit more over here. Ooh. But yes, so today and Thursday we're going to do more of this, and then Friday I've picked up some more blank keychains. It's kind of annoying though, because my friend gifted me these like keychain blanks, and she had them for ages, and they were really cool because they were in a bag, but they were all individually wrapped, so you could guarantee that like they weren't going to get scratched and whatever. Hobbycraft now, they still do them, but first of all, the shape has changed, so they're a lot skinnier now, and they also shove them all in a bag, and like that's it. So I'm a bit concerned. I can already see that like some of them have scratches and stuff on them, which is kind of annoying. But so two things. One is that I need to obviously find the ones that aren't like scratched up, but two, I need to reformulate my cross stitching patterns that I have. So I have a few different patterns I've already like mapped out the grid size to make things on. I'm thinking because these guys are a lot longer, like they're skinny long, it might be nice to do some things horizontally, because a lot of the things I've designed have been vertically. But so I'm hoping, obviously I'm sure you can guess, I'm hoping that maybe we can get like a little trio of mushrooms on one of these keychains on Friday. So that's another thing I have to work on, probably tomorrow, is measuring, scheming out, making a little pattern, and then we will actually do the thing on Friday, hopefully. All right. That guy's not bad. I think we will leave him as is. And then, I'm not sure, I don't know. I guess I kind of like how rustic these are looking, because usually what I try to do is I will like cut all the little kind of scragglies off of this. I might still do that, but I maybe won't be like so aggressive with it, just so that, I don't know, it looks a little more rustic, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So we have one more mushroom cap to add its little spots to. And then we'll move on to our stems. And so I did realize that the fly agaric stems, because you can also see them on my stream, is they have like a stem, but they also have this almost like a little collar on their stem. So we'll add that for some visual interest as well on some of these. And I guess too, pop out the base a little bit as well. I don't know if that I'm as concerned about. This seems less necessary to me in terms of like conveying what this is, but I do want to include this little like collar, little mushroom collar, if you will, to this. But yeah, so I have this little one because I wanted to test. I have a bunch of different sizes. I have even smaller ones. I think these little guys can only really hold like one mushroom on them, which is fine. That'll be fun. But then I have these bigger birch ones, and I think it would be really cute. I'm going to try to do this on Thursday, is we're actually going to make a fairy circle with another kind of mushroom that's like most commonly found in fairy circles. So basically I have this book. It is all of the like, it's a portable guide for mushroom identification in the UK, and so I'm going through them. To be fair, a lot of them are like your browns, your beiges, whatever. But there's some that like are a bit kind of purpley or a bit like bluish green and stuff like that. And so I'm also excited to make those too, because I think it'll be a nice way to use like different kinds of colors and visual interest. And it's one of those things that I feel like to see it, you would think like, oh, that's like some made up mythical shit, right? Like a blue mushroom. But it's like, nah, man, like that's real. Like I want to make these things that are inspired by like actual fungi that exist in the world. There's some really cool ones that actually kind of look like coral, which I find really interesting. I don't know, that might be very, I don't know, I feel like that might be kind of difficult to needle felt. But I don't know, because they're just like really long strands and stuff. Let me show you guys. I will finish sticking this on here, and then I will find the coral mushroom. There's also ones that are like almost like kind of like like they're like jelly in a way, like they sort of look really shiny and gelatinous. I think those, well, I don't know if they'll translate as well into needle felting, but they might. Let's find the coral. Here. Even something like this. Like this is just like a grass type of mushroom. So it's just like a long spindly, or like this, see? Crested coral. So it's a mushroom, but it looks like a coral reef sort of growing on a tree. So that'll be really fun to make. But it'll be very interesting to try to figure out how to do that. But I guess, like with most needle felting, we will just stab and shape and just, you know, hope for the best, right? That's the only thing I'm worried about, I think, with some of these more, like, I don't know, like mushroom deep cuts, I guess. I think because this is so well known and you obviously know it's a mushroom when you look at it, like that is something that is pretty universal. Whereas I feel like some of the other ones are a little bit, like, I don't know, like I would want people to always be able to recognize or realize that these are mushrooms. But I guess also, too, I could go the, like, we're trying to educate people on different things, and so if you look at it from first glance, you'd be like, that's not a mushroom, that's weird, and then you read up like on the little card, it'll be like, this is the kind of mushroom or whatever, and then it might be inspired to go and like read up about it and stuff, perhaps. I do want to do that, like when I with the goal of selling these down the road, I do want to include like a little card that actually tells you like the name of the mushroom and stuff. It might be cool too to like add a little definition or whatever. We'll see how intense I want to be about it. But I like when art comes with a story. Like I see people who make little like creatures and stuff to sell, and they come with like birth certificates and like adoption certificates and like little thank you notes and all this kind of stuff. And I just think that that's just like an extra little touch. So I like the idea of incorporating like a little baby info sheet about the mushroom that somebody might be purchasing. more or 2 more? Guess we'll find out in a minute. Oh yeah, we can do 1 more, I think. Nope. Might be about time to bust out a snack break. Cute. Okay. Do. Whoop. All right. So I do think the next step now is to make some stems for these caps. Let's see. So we don't need these right now. We'll leave them out just in case. So I think first order of business is to just make the stem. So I'm going to make a stem. I'm going to leave the top part not felted. So then we're going to attach it around the circumference of the mushroom cap. And then we go in and make the little stem collar afterwards. I believe this is the plan. I do feel like this can be felted down a lot. But we'll see how it goes. We will see. This is the boring part of the stream because you can't, well, you can kind of see it. Like you can very vaguely see because it's like we're felting white on white. So it can only be so visually interesting, unfortunately. But needs must. I find sometimes when I like needle felt tubes, you can sort of see the like distinct fold line. So I'm trying to like felt it and then almost like fold them in onto themselves so it's not as obvious that this is the clear definition of where everything got folded in half. That is the attempt. And remember, we always start with a little bit and then add more because you can add more wool, but you can't take away once you've felted it. Another thing I was thinking of too that could be like a pivot from the mushrooms is my friend gave me a needle felting book, but it's all like fairy woodland themed, and there's a design for like a sleeping fox, but this one the like template is for a massive one. I don't think I want to make a massive one, but I think it'd be really cute to take one of these birch ones and have like a sleeping fox curled up on the center of that. So that's the other thing too, like, you know, I'm doing mushrooms and things, so I think that'd be really fun, but there's nothing to say that we can't expand into other forest woodlandy things, you know what I mean? there's a alphabet cross stitch sampler that I used to make for my friend when she had her second child. I spelled out his name with this font, but it's like woodland creature theme. Do I have it easily accessible? Is it here? Is it in this guy? I don't think so. This is the Halloween one. It might be though. Bear with. Yeah, so they have all of these, like there's this sleeping fox, or this sleeping deer here, sorry. And then there's like a little squirrel and an owl and a fox down there. And so I think it would be really fun to felt little critters as well. Little woodland critters. But we're gonna start with the mushrooms. Start with the mushrooms. But we have big plans. Just all forest all the time. Just giving needle felted cozy forest core realness. That's all I could hope for. We'll have to take a look at our sort of proportions. I think that works for this one. Because I do feel like these stems are quite skinny for the size of the parasol, I guess. Or dome cap, that's the term. So we can get, especially for these guys, we'll have to get quite skinny. If anything, this might be too much wool for this. Or we just, again, have to felt it within an inch of its life. Which is an option. Yeah, I think we try to go as skinny as possible, and then, yeah, go from there. So we do need to give it some sort of flat base a little bit, just so that it has something, like the glue has something to stick to. But I don't think it needs to be a massive one. I think we just need to have, like, not a pointy base. You know what I mean? I sent a flyer to the UK from Greece, and it cost 59 euros? Really? That's wild. Yeah. I do find it's so interesting to me because it's so expensive for my parents to send me stuff, but it's like dirt cheap for me to send them stuff. But yeah, there's always, do you guys have like import taxes as well? Because I know that's what happened in the UK, is that there's always like additional fees to stuff. And it's like they will withhold your package until you pay them. There's no, like, you know, fighting that. They just send you a letter being like, you must pay the import customs taxes in order to receive your parcel. I wanted to try to send you some Greek snacks for you to try, even try the healthy ones. Yeah, that would be ridiculous. What you'll have to do, though, is you'll have to send a list, because what'll happen is when I'm in Greece for my friend's wedding, we can make a point to like go to a Greek like corner store and pick up some of your top requests. We can do that. But yeah, I think sending stuff here, unless it's like just like a letter, a tiny envelope, it's like stupid. It's in September. Okay. This might be too much fluff. Yeah. It's in Rhodes. Do you remember we were talking about it? How it's, I don't know. What was it? We said the southernmost tip of the... Yeah. Yeah. Oh, never mind. Yeah. But yeah, I'm hoping that it's gonna not be 41 degrees in September. Yeah, send me the recommendations of what the good is. We'll have to get our hands on the finest feta in the nation. Okay, are we gonna try this guy? Or are we gonna try this guy? If it's this guy, I think we need to... It's gonna be 30. Yeah, it's still gonna suck. I'm aware that it's still gonna be stupidly hot. I think they're actually getting married in the evening for that reason, because it's gonna be stupid hot in the midday, so... Oh, hi, baby. It has to be from duty free. Really? You think... I guess in order for it to not be stupid expensive. The only thing is with duty free, I guess, yeah, on the way home, maybe. You say hi, Bubba. Shadow. He's like, I'm not looking at you guys. I'm not looking. But yeah. Is the duty free in Greece good? It's always so funny to me because I think sometimes there's rules about what you can and can't import. Because I know in Canada, they sell you like smoked salmon in the airport. But I think there's certain rules about whether or not you can actually bring that on the airport into customs for different places. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's if we want to take stuff home with us. But, like, stuff we just want to, like, sit and eat in the hotel room. You know what I mean? You are kidding yourself if you think that I just won't, like, chill in my hotel room and, like, eat feta cheese. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we would definitely need to. Yeah, I'm sure we'll have to declare, like, whatever, if we're bringing stuff back. Okay. Is this... I think that might be too tall, actually. Luckily, there's not a whole lot here. That could be okay. It sucks though. Yeah. What's a cane? Do tell. Okay. I'm just like... There we go. That feels like the right size. Though now I think that this might be too much fluff down here. But we'll figure it out. Take some of this off. I don't know if this will be... Oh no, I think... I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So we're gonna flip this over. And so the thing is, we need to felt all of this into place, but we also don't want to push it all the way through and have it show up on the other side of the mushroom cap. Because that would not look right. So we're just gonna... ever so gently. It's an Anatolian-inspired Greek sweet. Ooh, that sounds nice. I will take a look in just a moment. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Let's take a look-see at what this sweet, sweet looks like. Ooh. They kind of look like a Turkish delight. Or is that like a is this like a candied fruit? Or is it more like a like, cause this is reading, like, cause it's covered in powdered sugar. This is reading like Turkish delight to me. But I don't know if that's jelly or if it's like a candied fruit situation, or is it like a toffee? It looks nice regardless. It looks very nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Speaking of snacks, I need to open mine. It can be many flavors and textures. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it can contain liquor. Oh, that's cool. So there's like tons of different flavor options. That's cool. Okay. This does feel like the right length, so that's good. Now we're just gonna go through the process of like adding the white gills to the mushroom cap. And that is going to be achieved with all of this extra white floof. Oh, thank you. Bon appetit. Yeah, this stream is forever, hopefully one day, sponsored by Nature Valley. Because we always consume Nature Valley granola bars here on the channel. One day, throwing it out into the universe. One day Nature Valley will reach out. They'll realize my cultural chokehold on the granola bar scene. Very nervous about accidentally shoving this through here, but I think it's okay for now. Just got to be very gentle. But yeah, because this process will be the same thing for these two guys. And so, like, because we have about 4 minutes left on stream, I will finish felting these guys on Wednesday, and then we will make, like, we'll finish the diorama, I guess, if you will. That's what we're calling them. I feel like this chat is an exchange of cultures. It's cool. I love it. I love being able to connect with people from all over the place and learning about different foods, different cultures, different languages. Even, like, I find as well too, it's always interesting to me different like pop culture moments and things like that. And like, because obviously I'm a very nostalgic person, like if a certain musical group that I was obsessed with as a child, if that crossed the pond or it didn't, I always find that very interesting. Like when Liam will be like, oh, there's this band that I grew up with, and I'm like, never heard of them. And then there'll be one that I'm like, oh, I've heard of that one. They did come over, but they were like a one-hit wonder. Or other ones that like they had the same level or at least a decent amount of cultural impact in Canada as they did in the UK. Same thing with bands that were like really big in the US/Canada and then like didn't make it over here. It's always interesting to me which ones those are. But yeah, I love it. One band, Nirvana, yeah. I feel like, yeah, they were a global phenomenon. I'm pretty sure. Though I feel like that was I'm aware of, because Nirvana was 90s, but that was slightly before my time to be like involved in it. The Scorpions were really big too. Rock You Like a Hurricane. That's the only Scorpion song I know. I didn't know they had any others. Though when I listen to the song Rock You Like a Hurricane, it sounds like they're saying raunchy like a hurricane to me every time I listen to it, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That is not a sentence. It doesn't sound like rock you to me. It sounds like their emphasis on the wrong syllables. I'm worried that this might be too much fluff, but hopefully we can felt it down enough. Here's a random question, Probacus. Does Greece participate in Eurovision? I've never, like, looked into the different places, but I was just thinking, like, I wonder what musical imports or things that are, like, really big in Greece that, like, maybe people hadn't heard about but are really popular. And I'm like, the only cultural relevancy I know of, like, how to get different musicians on, like, international stages is via Eurovision. Luckily that's not going through to the other side, which is good. I am still a bit concerned that this is too much, but I think it'll be okay. We will see. Yeah, are they not in Eurovision? Because I don't think all of the European countries are in Eurovision. And then places that aren't, like Australia is in Eurovision and the UK is still in Eurovision despite no longer being part of Europe. I never, like, Eurovision was never a thing. I didn't know anything about it until I moved here, and I have family, like, there's, like, Liam has family, they do, like, a Eurovision watch party every year. I don't think I've ever watched, I've never seen it, like, I've never engaged, so I don't know. I'm not aware of whether or not they have good, like, there used to be amazing songs or not. But I think it's almost like any reality TV show competition, right? There's always going to be, like, I don't know, like, favors versus, like, what, you know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be, it's more than just the music. There's, like, cultural, political, you know, monetary things all intermixed in that. I wouldn't know. It's very cool. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people just use it as an excuse to, like, get shit-faced and, like, hear cheesy songs. And then every once in a while a good one. From my understanding of it. From a sociological standpoint of, like, this is how I am assessing the way this culture interacts with Eurovision. That's my assumption of it. Too much. It's like This I do feel like is too much, but there's really not a lot we can do about it except felt the ever-loving shit out of it. So this is kind of, see on the side, like it sort of is coning down a little bit, and I would like, I can't really see that here, but I would like more definition between the stem and the gills. But I think it'll turn out okay. But it is 6 o'clock, so that means we are done for the day. But like I said, I will try to finish these tomorrow so that on stream Thursday we can put this together and then start work on our fairy ring version. So if anybody has any raid suggestions, let me know. If not, we will see which of our wonderful friends is currently streaming and go say hello to them. And like I mentioned, Thursday we will be back here doing more of this, but Friday we're going to pivot to our other fave crafting medium, which is cross stitching, and everything in between. So let's see who's online. Angelic Dreamer's online. We've not rated them in a while. Who else? Be down for some of my recommendations. Cool. Souls Online, Angelic Dreamer, Pop Tart, Dragon Rider, Yoga with Kim, Collage and Conversation. Wow. Positronics, Fat Rabbit, Art by Sutherland, Hobbit. Oh. Mars is making. We've rated him recently though. Stormy Girl. Ooh, I'm intrigued by Yoga with Kim only because they've rated into us and we have never rated into them, and I am curious. Let's go see. Though I do wonder if they are... I don't know. I don't think they're reaching the end of their stream. No, I think it's okay. I think we're okay. If not, it'll be a raid train. If not, it'll be a raid train, but we'll see. Okay. There's the link. Let us go and raid Yoga with Kim. And again, we will be back on Thursday. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I will get these little mushroom boys ready to go for Thursday shenanigans. And what else? I don't know. Stay hydrated. Health check, guys. Posture, stretch, have a beverage, and have a fantastic evening. Bye!